My name's Marcus Watts, and I'm 35 years old. I'm almost at 34 because I just turned 35 this past November, but I'm 35 years old. I went plant-based. I started experimenting with the plant-based lifestyle around like 2014, and I'll be like fully vegan like here in the spring for 2 years. I'm down a little bit now, but I like to preface this a lot with I've been as heavy as 250 pounds plant based and like stronger than ever, eating less than 100 grams of protein a day for most of the last three and a half years or so, 4 years or so. My family is originally from the Caribbean. My family's from Jamaica, and my mother's side of the family is from Jamaica. So obviously we eat a ton of meat, and then my father's side of the family is actually originally from North Carolina. So a lot of soul food, a lot of country food. Not a ton of focus on eating without having a ton of meat in your diet. But I went on to I lived all over the world because my father's in the military. So I grew up in Army brat overseas for about 13 years. I graduated from high school in Anchorage, Alaska. There was a military base up there, really big military installation. And then I would go on to play college basketball in Louisiana and Florida Gulf Coast University. And then I would go play professionally for about 6-7 years. And now in the fitness industry, I absolutely love it. I get to help people every day see themselves become better versions of themselves. And, in 2013, I was hospitalized for about 5 days with pulmonary embolism. I was like in the best shape of my life. I had just turned 30. I was hospitalized for about 5 days. Had pulmonary embolism, and there was really no explanation. I was like in the hospital. I'm like absolutely shredded, and I look really awesome, and my blood labs came back really healthy, and they just really couldn't explain. They were like bewildered. They're like, man, we can't figure out why you're even here. And then it just kind of led me down this path where I had to start exploring something else because I really trust the medical industry. And when I found the plant-based lifestyle, I kind of transitioned into it, but it's just changed my perception literally of how I see the world.
Oh, wow. Wow, that was an interesting journey. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so this question here kind of goes with, as far as you were saying with your family, how do you handle social situations like, family get-togethers, stuff like
Right.
that?
My mom will still be like, and my girlfriend's family too. They'll be like, hey, yeah, we're making that one thing. I'm like, Mom, like, I don't eat meat. And then they'll be like, still? Like, it's not a phase, y'all. Like, you're like, this is really how I live my life now. You know what I'm saying? But, I tell
Right.
people, like, you can't expect not everybody's going to have, the mindset that you have. You can't be upset at them. I'm not the guy that's there throwing around, you know what I mean? I'm not the
Right.
guy that's throwing around, look, you guys need to stop eating that meat. No, I'm not, and I just lead by example. They see how your skin looks. They see you working out. They see my posts on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and they see that every year they see me, they're like, yep, he's still looking good. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm getting stronger. I mean, I'm right now. I'm probably stronger than I've ever been. I'm actually about to do a physique show in March. It looks like. So I mean, when you go with family, you just got to understand and be prepared that look, they're just expect them to not have a ton of foods that you can eat. Now even me like training, very regimented. Look, if I go around family and all they have for me to eat are French fries and you know what I'm saying, then I'll just have it. I don't stress about it. It's like a normal thing to me now. Before it was like, man, what am I going to eat? There's nothing for me to eat. And then soon I realized that really all that's in your head. There's always something that you can eat. You know what I'm saying? Like some people are like, well, what are you going to have? A salad? I'm like, yeah, I actually love salad. Like, it's good for you. Like, it's not a bad thing. And like when I go places, like maybe we'll talk about restaurants later. So I'll actually hold off on saying that one. But like I just I don't have any reservations about it. Like you guys are eating how you want to eat. That's cool. I'll just prepare to eat before I go there, or you know what I'm saying. Make sure that somebody knows. Hey, like can you make a little extra, you know what I'm saying, like cauliflower and like sweet potatoes, because I'm gonna tear that up, But I really think it's just how you approach it. It's how you choose to make it seem like, you're not a victim. You know what I'm saying? Like, you choose to eat this way. Like, nobody's forcing you. So just expect that when you go places that they're probably not going to have what you would prefer, but there's something you can have. Either eat or don't eat at all, and then just eat later. You know what I mean? But I think that it becomes like such a big emphasis. Like, what are you gonna eat? Like, I'll just eat something. It's really not that serious. But I think that it's just kind of that thing that people will put out into the atmosphere, and then people will kind of take it in that way. It's like, as soon as I leave, the first thing I'm doing is go and find something to eat. Or I already know that we got stuff at home, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait till we get to the crib, because we got a bunch of stuff prepped or whatever here. So I think it's just all how you approach it, man.
Right. Yeah. Because we usually, so the majority of the time we travel with food, so we got snacks in the car. So for some reason,
exactly, yeah. And I mean, you know what? To be honest, it's no different from before, from when I was eating, because I didn't eat. I ate healthy already, so it was the same thing. I'm not eating what y'all eat already. Like, the only thing I'm gonna have back then was what? I'm gonna have like some potatoes, like. At that point, I really wasn't even eating rice. I'm gonna have some potatoes, some vegetables, and some chicken. Like, wait, that has sauce on it, so I can't have that. It was the same thing, So, like, whatever lifestyle you choose, you choose to be that way. Don't blame everybody else for not catering to it. But the funny thing is in time they start to respect it. They see you again. They see you looking good. They see you feeling good. They see your little workout videos or whatever, and they see that it's like a lifestyle for you, and then. Now they start asking questions, and I think that's the best way to kind of lead. Like, I literally never talk to my family about why they should go plant-based. I never do.
Well, that's actually interesting. You see, is it working, or it is what it is?
When the conversation comes up, you know what I'm saying? They start talking about, well, my back's been hurting, or my gout's been acting up, and I'm like, hey, like, auntie, you gotta stop drinking that milk. I told you know what I'm saying, you gotta stop. If you really want to see how your body, can perform, let's get you off this food. Let's do a little 21-day detox. Just remove this, and this. Start here, and then, I mean, when they start asking me, they get like interested. You know what I mean? They're like, so, what do you eat? And I'm like, what elephants eat? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like, it's a lot. I mean, I really wasn't aware of the variety of foods that were out there. I won't lie. You know what I'm saying? And that's from somebody whose family, came from the islands, and, I mean, having the large pear them, and, I mean, curry good. And it was just, so many foods that we had that, normal American cuisine doesn't have. But I didn't know what farro rice was. You know what I'm saying? I never had black rice. I didn't know what, I thought that like hummus was like only for like rich white folks. You know what I mean?
Right.
I eat like chickpeas. Like, I felt robbed when I finally first started having hummus. I felt like the Black community needs to know about this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure you have a lot of mixed listeners too. But like, I'm like, yo, like, how come nobody told us that hummus was so good? I thought it was just like a side thing that you have with like hors d'oeuvres, which is another thing Black people really don't do, like hors d'oeuvres. Like, what's that? And just culturally, it was like a shock to me. And I was like, man, it's like full of so many nutrients. Like, it's very cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like a can of garbanzo beans, that you can turn into hummus. And I started learning different ways to eat foods, and I try to share that with them more than anything.
Right, because you're being more creative, and in a sense, it's you're not being lazy. Like, you're being creative because you're looking at different options in food besides the basic norm.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot different. It's a lot different. I think when you start having to find ways to make it interesting, because at first I was like, all right, bet. Like, I heard David actually on my podcast, the Vegan Transition. David Carter's actually agreed to come on my show. So has Badass Vegan. So I'm super excited. Yeah, I'm really excited. So, David Carter, and Rich Roll were talking about it, and they were like a couple of first places I went for resources, and they were like talking about like just a basic dish for them would be like black beans, white rice, like avocados, tomatoes, some corn. I'm like, bet, like I'll have that. And I was, and I mean, even still today, I have it all the time. I mean, I love it because there's so many different ways to have it. But you start being like, all right, let me switch something out. And then you just start learning all these different foods. And I'm like, I didn't know you could just like cut up a watermelon and just put it in a blender and it tastes like I don't know how often you've done that, or like if y'all are listening right now, just go buy a watermelon, cut it up and put it into a blender. Yeah, you can, or just eat it with a spoon. That's true. But like put it in a blender and just watch. Like it's just, number one, it's extremely hydrating. It's like one of the best things that you can have for hydration. And it just tastes amazing. You can have it any time of day. You can put vodka in it. Hello. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's vegan too. So, but yeah. So it's I think just learning new foods was one of the big eye openers for me as well.
Okay, so there are a lot of rumors out there that people who eliminate meat or dairy from their diet do not get enough nutrients or protein because of this food that they exclude from the diet. So based on personal experience, do you feel it's easy to keep yourself on track health-wise by cutting out the meat and dairy?
Extremely. I mean, there's you got to go and you got to look at, I tell people, look, I tell my followers all the time, you don't need to take my word for it. You know what I'm saying? Go do your own research, I think the first part that really brought light to it, and we're still not even talking about, the animal side, and we're not talking about, the environment. We haven't even, that's not even stuff that we're touching on. But when you just start looking at the statistics, the amount of, heart-related deaths and illnesses, I think one of the best studies was cited actually in Forks Over Knives, and it talks about, when the Nazis came in, I can't remember what country, so, I'm not even going to try to name the country, but one of the countries in like Central Europe, when the Nazis came, they put you in camps, and they take away all of, you're not getting anything that comes from an animal. You're not getting any milk. You're not getting, you're not getting any meat. That's for sure. All you're having are, probably the worst forms that you could get of, potatoes, like vegetables, and pretty much water. And there's like a statistic that shows like when the Nazis invaded these countries, or this country in particular, literally when you're looking at it on a chart, it was like the numbers of heart-related deaths and illnesses it looked like it just fell off of a cliff. It dropped so fast, and then it stayed down. And then what happened when the war ended and everybody could go back to eating how they were before? You saw a steady climb until it was, pretty much exceeding where it was before the war. And that's like one of the big things that I tell people is like, listen, you don't need meat to survive. It's related to a lot of like unhealthy things that are happening in our community. And people will be like, oh, well, you needed to have protein and stuff like that. And I just kind of tell them, just now I feel like there's so many guys out there. There's Toy Washington, you know what I'm saying? There is, Badass Vegan, Nemai Delgado, David Carter, the 300-pound vegan. He doesn't go by that anymore. Yeah, he doesn't go by that anymore. But, pretty much the entire Tennessee Titans defense, it's so many resources out there. I mean, when I went plant-based, I couldn't really believe what was happening. I dropped like 15 pounds and all my lifts went up. I mean, I was benching more, I was squatting more. I hit like lifetime PRs and I was like 34, 33 years old. And I was like, man, what's happening? Like, how is this even possible? And now I will preface this with saying, before you do anything, you should go be seen by your physician, right? You need to go see a doctor. You need to get some blood labs done. You need to know where I just did a podcast on this today. You need to know where you currently stand so you can properly assess the future, right? It's the same with like training logs, and I talked about that today on Instagram. You got to track. So I actually went for some blood labs like maybe like 4 months ago, and they were like, oh wow, you're extremely healthy. Yeah, your numbers are really good. Your iron, your B12, like you must eat a lot of red meat. I was like, I haven't eaten red meat in 4 years. And they were like, but like at the time I wasn't like supplementing iron, like supplementing B12, and it's just from eating a wide variety of foods and stuff. And they were like, oh, okay, all right, wow. And so, that was the first thing that I had done in a while. I had some blood labs done in like 2014, and then I had some retaken. It was like 2014. Yeah, then I had some retaken about 6 months ago. But I mean, it's been misspelled. They want you to, they want that information out there to hinder you from trying it. Just like people are going to say, oh, well, you can't get enough protein from plants. And then when you tell them, well, this meal has like 60 grams of protein, they're going to say, Yeah, but it's not a complete protein. Like all that's been dispelled, all of it. You know what I mean? It's literally the studies are out there proving that the complete protein whole side of it, especially if you're on a plant-based diet, really doesn't matter, because what it really comes down to more than complete proteins, I'm doing the finger quotes, it's caloric intake. So if you want to get strong, you don't want to lose muscle mass, you need calories. And that's no different than on any diet. People are like, oh, I want to get, even people that want to lose fat, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, the first thing that I have my clients do is I have them get on what we call baseline nutrition, which means you're eating enough that supports your age, your height, your sex, your current weight, your active. And most people, I say like 80% of people, it's a massive jump in the amount of calories that they're intaking. And that's just based off scientific calculations to have you eating for what you need to be eating right now for the weight you are. You know what I'm saying? And so most people, that's their biggest thing, is they already undereat. There was a guy that was telling me, he's actually in my 10-week, I have a program called, it's the 10-week vegan program. And in that program, the guy was telling me, yeah, like, before he started, he had gone plant-based or whatever. We had a prior conversation sometime in October. And he said immediately, like, he just dove right into it. And our program didn't start until this week. And he was like, man, I felt like, he said, hey, immediately I lost fat. He said, but he felt like he lost muscle mass, which was probably in his head. But either way, he said that now that he's on his full, vegan meal plan, he sees how much he should have been eating. And that's like the biggest takeaway that I can give people, like I enjoy eating a lot. So being vegan is great for me because I'm greedy and I get to eat even more, it feels like.
Okay, on that note, another myth about eating meat and dairy from your diet is that you spend much on groceries. Do you think this is true? Do you think it's possible to maintain the diet lifestyle on a budget?
Yes. So I wrote an article about this and I think the article was called How I Went from Spending like $300 a week on groceries to $60 a week. So once you buy your big items, so once you buy you got to buy like a vegan protein that costs like, 30 to like $50 depending on what you get, right? And then you buy some things like rice, you know what I mean? And just go to like a Indian store or like a Mexican corner store, and you can get like a big bag of rice, you know what I mean? And then, you do a couple things, you buy a bunch of beans or something like that. Or actually the beans, if you just buy them dry, it's even cheaper. I would go to the farmer's market. Now, this is where the like major trick comes in. If you go to a grocery store to buy your produce, let's reverse engineer. How do you think that produce gets to the grocery store, right? They don't grow it themselves. They go and they try to get it from local markets or local farmers, local farms, and then get it inside of the store. Okay, so when they do that, they're going to tax you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to tax you because you're choosing to go to their store that has those sliding doors. That costs money. You know what I'm saying? It has lights. Those cost money. There's people working in there. There's shelves and all this stuff. There's like all the pretty stuff that you see that, like, you know what I'm saying, that lights up the, the produce and sprays. All that stuff costs money. So they got to tax you for it. You're paying for the luxury of going to one place to find everything that you want, and it's super packaged. It's super nice. Now, when you go to a market, stuff's not packaged super nice. It's nicely laid out. It's in, boxes, you know what I'm saying? It's laid out on tables. It might be on like a truck, but they're not paying lighting. They're not paying for those really cool sliding. They don't have a ton of employees, and so you get it a lot cheaper. So myself eating, right? At the time, 245 pounds. It was about, I literally could go, if I spent $60, like I wouldn't spend $60 all at once, because like the stuff that I would get would go bad so fast. So I would go like on like Wednesday, then I would try to go on like Saturday. You know what I mean? But if I did have to go and get all the stuff, it really wasn't much more than like 60, $70 a week. And that really came from, like I said, for me, eating all the protein that I thought that I was supposed to have before. So, off of the old myth of, you need 1 gram of protein per pound of lean mass. And if you try and get jacked, if you try and get real big and strong, you need around 1.5 to 2 grams of protein. Again, a complete myth. The studies have shown you only need 0.8 grams of protein per kilocalorie. So when you're talking kilos to pounds, 2.2 pounds equals 1 kilo. So what I've actually found in a lot of the studies that I've done in working with my clients is literally it comes out if you just did 0.8 times how much you weigh in muscle mass. So You go and you get some stuff done where, they do a body composition. They find out how much you weigh in muscle and bone. They find out how much you weigh in fat. Awesome. So now with your lean mass, you just multiply that times 0.8. And that's how much protein you need to have. Now, think about how much most people in our country are over 10% fat. They're more around like 15 or 20, if not more. You don't need that much protein. And again, this is where I go back to, what I kind of prefaced before, is that for most of the time of the last like 2.5, 3 years, I've been having less than 100 grams of protein a day. And I deadlift over 500 pounds, I back squat over 420 pounds, I close grip bench 335 pounds for a 3-second pause. And I'm not saying this because I'm cool. There's guys out there way stronger than me. You know what I'm saying? But at 35 years old, what I'm saying, for only having 75 to 80, 94 grams of protein a day, and supposedly I was going to be protein deficient and wither away, I'm still windmilling off drop step and playing with the young guys and throwing up some pretty heavy weights and, packing on some lean muscle mass.
See, doing the work.
That's
so,
it.
Okay. So do you feel, as a man, it seems harder to begin the plant-based journey?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
Okay, do you feel as a man it seems harder to begin the journey towards a plant-based lifestyle?
I wouldn't say that it's harder. I mean, what's hard? Hard is a state of mind. If you want to do something, you're gonna do it. If you want to go and pursue that woman, you're gonna go pursue her. If you want to get that job, you're gonna go the extra mile to do it. If you want to do it, you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, you're gonna make excuses as to why you can't do it. You know what I mean? Some people, that's just their mindset in general, and some people that's kind of like a defense mechanism that they're going to use to like protect themselves. You know what I mean? They're going to say all these. Now, I don't think that it's harder, especially now in 2019 almost. The resources are out there. You just go on Instagram and type in vegan, you're gonna start finding guys like I said, Namai Delgado. You know what I'm saying? Tori Washington, pro bodybuilders. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And then you can just go down the wormhole and see, all right, these guys are doing it. But I will say that there is a disc, and I spoke at Veg Fest in Southwest Florida last year, and we did it, myself and a buddy of mine, Brendan from he owns a company called Planet Protein. It's a vegan-based protein bar. We talked about the disconnect between plants and masculinity. And, people do have kind of all my friends wanted to send these funny memes and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like about like being a vegan and like basically like it just, making you seem less masculine and stuff like that. And I mean, I never said anything. I was just like, it's all good. You know what I mean? I don't really care. They're just ignorant to it. I feel like in 20 years, people are going to look back and be like, we can't believe you guys actually like ate animals, So it doesn't bother me, but there is a disconnect, and I think it's gotten better and it's going to continue to get better. But initially, guys just think that, I played football, so I understand the mindset. It's like, my mindset used to be like, you want to get big and strong, you drink a gallon of milk a day and you eat, a bunch of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You know what I mean? I'm a badass. Right. I'm a man's man. I eat my steaks medium rare, and you know what I'm saying? Like I hunt, and that's what men do. And I just think that, that's just an old adage that in time is going to run its course. I don't want to like make the other terms seem small, but I kind of use the example of like the women's movement, for example, right? Women couldn't vote. They were like, man, you guys are crazy. Like women shouldn't vote. They're never going to vote. And then somebody makes some noise. They cause a ruckus. Next thing, okay, women can vote. And women are still dealing with the struggle, in the workforce today and that's got its time. It's time. That's time it's about up, same thing, the civil rights movement, Rosa Parks doesn't feel like sitting down. She caused a ruckus. Now people are like, this has been the way it's been forever. We're not changing anything, and things have to start changing. You just see it happen over and over. And I think that that's the way that the plant-based movement is going to be in time. Like now it's to the point to where you can't ignore it. You know what I'm saying? It's in your face too much, and there's too many studies to ignore it. Now people just choose to because they just, I don't know why they do, but I guess it's just easier to do. And I feel like in time, it's going to be something that is just going to be a no-brainer, like it's the right thing to do.
Right. So, you mentioned earlier, you have a partner. So with that, are they plant-based, and how does that work? And if they're not, how does that still work?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, she is. So it's not a problem. It's not a problem for us.
Mm.
And I think that if you were seeing someone that eventually they would have, I think eventually that it just becomes, they feel like they've got to give it somewhat of a try. You know what I mean? Because if you don't
Right.
do it, then if you're seeing somebody else prosper and they're showing you all these other people like you, because for me, it wasn't just, okay, well, I know that people are doing it, but they're Rich Roll. Like, he's a long distance runner that's been like a fruitarian, and he weighs like, I don't know, like 160 pounds or something. You know what I mean? Like, he's not, you know what I mean? He runs ultra marathons. Like, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for, I want to be able to hit hard, jump high, run fast, and lift heavy and pack on muscle. So I think that once you can find someone that looks like you, that you can identify with, I think that's when it becomes a little bit easier for someone to give it a try. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think that I could. As long as they were open to it, maybe, but I mean, it's just, I definitely think that if somebody was just like completely against it, that I think if you're vegan or you're, that's the way that you're trying to go, it would probably be difficult.
Right.
But yeah, my
Okay.
girlfriend, she's
So,
vegan too.
so is there any advice, for other men, especially men of color, new to looking, to go into this plant-based lifestyle, that you would give any advice to?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I would say is like, hit me up. You know what I'm saying? On Instagram, I'm at the Watts Guy. Just hit me up, ask me questions. A lot of my stuff I post, I try to post as much like informational, like in-depth stuff as I can. My website's thevegantransition.com. They can reach me there too and see some of the articles. We're actually moving the site over to another platform right now. But, some people to go look up: David Carter, number one. All right, he used to be known as the 300-pound vegan. He's not 300 pounds because he's not in the NFL. And he doesn't have to move large men anymore. But when he was in
Right,
the
the
league,
model now.
yeah, he's just vibing now. He's chilling. And then I would say, look up Namai Delgado. All these guys that I've kind of prefaced before. Namai Delgado has never eaten meat in his life. Torrey Washington, he's like in his 40s, and he's in amazing shape. The pro Namai and Torrey are like pro bodybuilders. I think if vegan Namai's account, vegan bodybuilding food. He has like a food account where they post nothing but food, like nothing but pictures of meals and stuff with like macros, like with protein and carbs and stuff. Hold on, my girlfriend was saying, what were we saying about? Who? Kendrick. Oh yeah, Kendrick Ferris. Yeah, Kendrick Ferris, he's our only, this is probably, if you want to start quoting, like throwing names out. So Kendrick Ferris is a friend of mine, but he's the only Olympian from the U.S. to qualify in Olympic weightlifting.
Wow.
He's the strongest. He's
That
pretty much the
awesome.
strongest guy in America. He's like he's the only guy that made the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? This huge country we have, we're supposed to be so good at everything. We do not make the Olympics. We hardly ever do. He's the only guy that made it. And he's vegan. I've had conversations with him. Again, he's like, man, I'm stronger than ever. Like, he recovers faster. And I mean, you look this guy's Instagram up, it's insane. I mean, the way he's lifting, you're talking 500 pounds like squats for reps. It's nothing. And he's been doing it since he was like 12 years old. So, I mean, just go look up some of these guys. I mean, it's possible. If you want to learn about something, then their information's out there for you.
Right. So it's pretty much, we'll give you some information, but it's still do the research on your own.
Yeah. And I have a private group on Facebook too. That's under the Vegan Transition, and we share a lot of like stuff, like recipes and stuff in there, and a lot of cool stuff like that. Just to try to give as much info as possible,
Yeah, that's what we got to do. That's what we're here for. So,
yeah.
On that note, do you have anything coming up that the listeners should know about? Anything that's new going?
The Vegan Transition podcast. It's on Spotify and it's on iTunes. You can go check that out. Let me know. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my headphones were acting weird. Let me know, if you guys, what type of content you guys want to see. Like, it's made for you guys. So engage, ask questions, and I like to build content around what people want to see. I have like a ton of like free meal plans, like at my website and stuff, and that like gives you like free like layouts of like vegan meal plans so you can kind of see. And then in the new year, I've actually got what's called a Healthy Jumpstart program for 2019. So it's a completely free 14-day program where I guide you through. We do it in like a big group. I guide you through, nutrition. I guide you. I give you workouts, and then I'm there to hold you accountable. And that's a good program that I'm just trying to, suggest that as many people join as possible. It's just, your family members want to join, bring them. It's good for anybody. It's scalable for, for all ages and stuff like that. And then I have a 10-week vegan program that's like something that people have to apply for, and I have to make sure that they're a good fit so I can really serve them. But that's like probably my top performing program for plant-based people. I'm about to take that one up a notch.
All right, you're doing a lot for the plant-based community, and we appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on. As many people as we can get, just sharing, the strength of plants. That much better.